maybe you're new. You walk into a recording session, or you get up on stage and you're asked to sub for somebody. You got to spend the whole night playing with that bass player, you know? And you find out where he likes it. He may be on top of it, but he doesn't want you on top of it with him, you know? If he's playing and he wants you to be on the back, so and it's not incorrect to do that and not be exactly perfectly together all the time. It actually creates an inner swing. When you hear a really good band shuffling, swinging like that, and you go, man, what's going on up there? It's probably one of those dynamics where it's just in the personality of the two guys playing. One guy plays this way, the other guy plays that way, and then over the years, they get along doing it. Got so many favorite bass players, I can't tell you. So many wonderful favorite bass players that I've played with over the years, and every one of them's a little different, you know. And it's nice to know where to put that value of the beat, right in the middle, or front, or in the back. Some guys I know like for me to like play right on top of it, like same tempo. A little more on top of it like that. Push it a little bit. Or you. It's almost like I hold the bass drum tempo back with the snare drum. In fact, that's what I'm doing here. I'm creating that little gap in there. And that's a swing. That's an inner swing. When you hear somebody playing, you're wondering, why does that guy sound so good? You know, not everything perfectly on time all the time, not digitally perfect, not digital, you know, not a machine, you know. The other really interesting thing about that is, where is the singer singing? You know, like most important thing for you is to lock with the bass player, obviously. But even more important than that, you got to make the singer sound good. Like if you can't make the band sound good and the singer, most importantly, you're not going to get hired quite as much. But when you make that singer sound good, the phone's going to ring. You know, you're going to get more and more work. So something to keep in mind when you're playing with a band, sitting in, auditioning, whatever. A lot of different things here. All right, that's a double shuffle, right? Everybody knows that one? Everybody got that one? And then there's another way of playing it, which is just 4 on the floor. Variation of the double. All these different patterns you can put onto the same grid of your shuffle. One of them needs to remain consistent for a while so that the other one fits around it. If that makes any sense. It's rudimental. It's like, you know, doing a couple of rudiments, putting a couple of rudiments together into a fill. The discussion comes up about what's a Chicago shuffle and what's a double shuffle, or what's a Texas shuffle and what's a Chicago shuffle. And I've explained this in some of my writing before. I've explained it in clinics as well. I'm from Houston, Texas, and there's another drummer that's from Detroit. And on a Friday night at 8 o'clock, both of us are playing a blues gig in different places. And what he plays, he's calling it a Chicago shuffle. And I'm playing a Texas shuffle because I'm from Texas. It's the same shuffle, you know what I mean? And everybody goes, no, man, it's a Chicago shuffle. Well, I don't know. I heard it first in Texas. And if you go way back in history, you might hear some of those old Texas guys. And I know you think everything started in Chicago. I'm not going to get into an argument, but you know, you got to really study your history to find out where everything comes from. Anyhow, that's my disclaimer on it. And being from Texas, I'm going to say that. So I always talk my way out of it by saying, all right, so all those Sonny Boy Williams and all those other shuffles that you hear, some of the shuffles that you hear Freddie Beale doing, that you must call a Chicago shuffle because it is a shuffle and he's from Chicago and he's playing with Chicago artists. He's playing brushes. You could probably sing a Muddy Waters song to that right there. Turn it into a flam exercise there, right at the end. Okay. You sit down and you think, what am I going to do today? Try something on brushes or whatever, you know. Got a flam triplet. Just another little tip there. I'm not writing these down. Anyhow, that's my disclaimer on the Chicago shuffle when the discussion comes up. And we don't have it that often, but every once in a while you get somebody who's like a really blues aficionado. And they go, no. Which record are you pointing at? Okay. Stay there. Stay there. Met this young lad outside a while ago. I don't know, are you in here? What's his name? Yeah. And he said, paid me a very nice compliment, by the way, thank you. Playing the flat tire shuffle, also called a stumble. And I played it on a Taj Mahal record that won a Grammy. And it was a T-Bone Walker song. What's the song? What's the name of that song?
Hustle is on.
Hustle is on. 1, 2, 3, 4. And he pointed out that you do a triplet swing on the right hand. I do. Bang, 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 bang. Like that. So, you overlay play stuff like this, you'll discover more. You can tell I'm kind of rambling and searching around here in my consciousness for things to say, to talk about. They'll ooze out a little bit at a time. I found out last night I was doing the class, as you all know, Mr. DeMar Martin was supposed to do it. He's a very friend of mine, by the way, and a wonderful guy. He really is. Great drummer. Where was I? Okay, stumble shuffle. So that's 2 or 3 shuffles for you right there. And then when you get into some music, sometimes it gets, I want to pick out some artists right now. Some older stuff, it gets kind of a little more laid back and loungy. You get into that kind of swing shuffle where you're not really, you're not really pounding it or whatever. You all know, the slower you take the shuffle, the harder it is to keep it even, that. And so I have people that come to me and ask for a lesson. Hey, can I come over and will you share some shuffle? Friends of mine, professionals, share ideas. Or else if I'm giving a lesson and I go, man, you're just going to have to do that left hand after exercise, just like as if you were lifting barbells. You have to just sit there with a metronome and get everything you can out of your left hand, from the subtleties of dropping it mower style or whatever, to pounding it. And getting that big band feel. So I like that 2 and 4. I like that extra note on the 2 and 4. I like that extra. To me, it always it kind of wakes everybody up. If you're just. Sorry, that's white boy shuffle. You know what I mean? If you want to really get something going on here, you got to put some funk into that back beat. You're sitting there working on your left hand, trying to strengthen it and get it more used to playing, I'll say, almost independently of everything else. The more independent you can make it, the more fun you can have on the bass drum, and the more you can do on the right hand as well. And when you free that up so that this remains your basis, it gives you more of a chance to come up with fills that are interesting. Go ahead and throw some rudiments in there. But you don't have to play every note of the rudiment. That's the great thing about it. You can ghost some of the rudiments. Y'all following that, right? Okay. Thumbs up. I'll go back to the shuffle here. Anybody got any questions about the shuffle? Anything you'd like for me to bring something up and we'll talk about it? You guys, you in the back there, you the gentleman I met? Yeah, you. When you play that stumble shuffle, that flat tire shuffle, you just play it straight on the kick drum, right?
Yeah. 4 and 4.
Yeah, do you puff the kick drum or do you pound it?
You know, like, it's a good question. I think sometimes I pound it and sometimes I puff it.
Is your band loud?
It depends on how loud it is.
Right, right, right. So that determines the dynamic and whatnot. So, because we'll go back to it. If you puff it, you keep this little subtle pulse going on, and it doesn't become as dominant. A lot of especially early big band jazz drummers played. You think a lot of big band jazz. And a lot of these old big band jazz drummers would puff along. Instead of, if you're in a guitar band, so you set up a real major nuance, honestly, between how everybody reacts to it and feels,
You have like a lot of early Count Basie, Papa Joe Jones would be really feathering it.
Took the words out of my mouth. Papa Joe, perfect. Yeah, we've got drummers of that era all. Yeah, I've had a couple of them show me that, and they were demonstrating to sit down. I just keep my foot doing like this, just a little bit. Don't do a lot until I got to do a lot. Very good point. So you probably pronounce it a little bit more. Yeah. Cool. You got any more questions? You got one.
Do you use the halftime shuffle at all?
Yeah. The Purdy Shuffle, or what do you want to,
Whatever it's called.
Yeah. Oh yeah, it's a lot of fun to play. Purdy Shuffle, and then you get into some great records where some great tracks are played by people like Jeff Porcaro.
Yeah.
Jeff's stuff. In fact, that was playing Rosanna.
Oh, yes. Yeah. That's what reminded
You ever
me of it.
studied that drum beat? It's like, I can't do it. Like that, but like Jeff Porcaro, not me. God, he was a master. Living in Los Angeles, I get to hear so many great stories about him and sessions he played on and situations that he was in as a drummer, how he handled them professionally. As long as everybody was nice and courteous and things were moving along as what I call smart, he was great with that. As soon as somebody in the studio got to be BS or whatever, or jive or whatever, Jeff, you could see Jeff. They said you could see his attitude turning, and sometimes at the end of his take, he'd just go, "Okay, I'm done for the day," and he'd get up and walk out because he didn't want to do it anymore, and he didn't care if somebody said, "Hey man, Jeff Porcaro just walked out of our session." So what? You must have been doing something wrong. He had that kind of respect, But he was a really nice guy, really nice. He was an humble guy. Consider it. Great. So many great records he played on. And then you got Bernard Purdie, and that man, the way, I'm sure you've seen his demonstrations of doing, I can't even come near doing what Bernard does with it. He's a very good friend, by the way. And I've never grilled him on it too much because I know he gets grilled on it all the time, but we've sat down and talked a few times. And it's just amazing. And if you've ever seen him solo around, that's pretty amazing as well. The way he talks. That's not easy to take a beat like that has that type of 16th note shuffle on the right hand and be cut time on the rest of it, and then play solos around it. They don't rudimentally go together easily, So, yeah, well respected. Any other questions?
I don't think he used the clip either.
No, he didn't need it. He had that perfect time. Yeah, he had early gospel, you know. He learned a long time ago where to make it feel good. Just think about all those amazing records he played on Aretha Franklin. Everybody, tons of stuff. You know, amazing. And a great guy. I got a great photo at home of me in one of my finest moments. I was at the NAMM show one year, and I'm sponsored by Sabian Cymbals. And they used to throw these soirees where they would have 6 of their artists play 30 or 45 minutes. And it would be a rhythm section, and drummers would go up and rotate with the rhythm section. And one night I'm playing, and I look out in the audience, and Earl Palmer sitting there, and Bernard Purdie, and Richie Hayward, and Zigaboo Modelis. Those were all my favorite drummers in the world. And I was like, oh, okay, this is gonna be fun. So I got a photo of me with them afterwards backstage. It's on my wall. It's one of the most proudest moments, you know, of making it through that, you know. You probably all really, I wish I could show you how to do this the right way, but you've probably heard of James Gadson, drummer, you know, with Bill Withers, yeah, and all those amazing hits that he did. There's that one YouTube video that he did that I just don't know how he plays a 16th note pattern that fast and that funky and that consistent, and it sounds like a machine. And James is a really sweetheart of a man. He's from Kansas City. We're very good friends, by the way. They opened up a BB King's owned by the same guy, Tom, that owned this BB King's in Los Angeles in Universal City. And when they did, we put a house band together for it. And there was a lead guy, his name was Arthur Adams. He's actually very well known R&B. Horn section, B3, bass player. And myself and James Gadson and Albino Bennett were the 3 rotating drummers. And it was a 6-night-a-week gig, or 5 nights, yeah, 5 nights a week. But none of us wanted to work in the nightclub 5 nights a week. So we would just, James, what do you want? I'll do next Tuesday, Wednesday. You get Thursday, Friday, okay? You know, we'd just switch off all the time. And one day when we're in rehearsal, and it's just him and I there rehearsing some new songs that Arthur wanted to do it, and I'm trying to play his. James, how do you do that right hand like that? So consistent, so long. Well, I'm just using bounce, right? And he showed me he does this thing where he puts his arm, and if you watch that video of him playing on YouTube, he moves his arm back and forth, and that's part of his whole action. Overdone. I still couldn't get it, you know.
It's like cutting a steak.
Huh?
Cutting a steak.
Like, yeah, exactly. And he's got it so smooth. It's brilliant ways. And he's the sweetest, most humble guy. And he played on those fantastic records. He's still doing good. He's pretty healthy, staying alive, getting on. He does some gigs. We have to help him up and down from the drum kit sometimes. But it's just that he plays like James Gadson. Let's see, styles of music. Well, styles of blues. What does your band sound like? What kind of band is it?
I don't know. We do some that are swingy, some numbers that are swingy, a couple rumbas, one that's sort of New Orleans-y.
Okay, good. Are you New Orleans is in second line or just New
Yeah,
Orleans?
that's kind of the pattern. Yeah, kind of like that.
That's the march. It basically comes from a 3-2 clave, right? You know. putting the two together. Kind of like that? Do you do that kind of second line?
Yeah, maybe not quite as swung.
Oh, okay. Yeah. And you watched marching bands from New Orleans marching bands.
Oh yeah.
Isn't it amazing how the guy playing the bass drum, the guy playing the snare drum, yet they sound like one person when they're playing?
Mind-boggling.
It is. And I'm sure you've been in New Orleans and you've seen a parade, you know. Nothing like it, you know. Give me a beer, I'm gonna walk about 3 miles, maybe 4 or 5. Yeah. Amazing times, yeah. I got caught up down there several times. I spent a lot of time there. I was working with Ivan Neville for some time, and he had joined Bonnie Raitt's band when I first joined it in '84. And so he invited me back to New Orleans a few times. And really, I think I got schooled on a lot of that neighborhood New Orleans stuff. Thank you, I have water. I got schooled on that because of him. Then he introduced me to Zigaboo, and we became instant friends. And then I played with Leo Nocentelli from the Meters. So I was in his funk band for a while with Ivan. And then Ivan went on to do other things. I ended up playing with Leo Nocentelli and George Porter Jr. for a while as well. It doesn't get any funkier than that, you know what I mean? It's like amazing stuff. And I learned a lot from those guys about where they put the beat, like I was talking about earlier. Crazy things to play that they like that nobody else would ask you to do. You know, no one asked you to play. Like the New Orleans is its own way of playing, which says a lot for where did the blues come from. And there are a lot of arguments that say, man, the blues started in New Orleans, you know, back when with jazz, and then people who live in other parts of the country go, no, man, it started in the Delta. Well, what I hear, the story, the lore I hear, is that the blues that was in New Orleans was on the radio in Mississippi. And when they would go to the plantation office or whatever, or go to the store or whatever, the radio was on, they heard that blues, and that's where they got their music from. So then there's that argument, plus there's also the country blues side of the argument going on as well. But it's amazing how this music that we're all in love with, you know what I mean? You know, it's Americans' music. It is America's music, without a doubt. Any more questions? Anything you'd like me to try to play? Let's see. Okay, so all of you have to record with your band. So you had to be in the studio, whether you're a studio musician or not, you have had to be in the studio at some point and record. And that's an experience in itself. That's something you have to like work toward doing and getting a feel for the moment that you're there. You don't just go in and just play the notes. You've got to make, you know, everything else nuance into something that feels good while you're doing it, that the artist likes, and that fits, you know, pleases the producer, pleases the artist. I got really lucky. I was invited to play on, when I was playing with Bonnie Raitt, and I was invited to play on a session, you know, 2 o'clock one afternoon, and I'm driving up to the session, and the producer's outside out front, and he says, hey, Tony, hurry up. I said, what? I'm here 30 minutes early, you know? So he said, I need you right now. What's up? He said, where's my water? We need you right now. So I walk inside, and they've been recording this song since 11 a.m. with just piano and bass, and they were trying to get it, and they couldn't quite get the feel. Sorry. My phone's going off after the fires last night. I'm getting a lot of concerned phone calls. And so I go inside. Bruce Hornsby and Hutch Hutchinson on bass. Bruce and Hutch have been playing the song since 11 a.m. in Bonnie, and they've been trying to get a take, and they couldn't. So Don Was says, quietly, "Hey, man, do you have brushes?" I go, "Yeah." My drums had already been teched out, so before I got there. And so I heard them playing this song. They were playing "I Can't Make You Love Me," the ballad that she was on, that was on the Kennedy Center Honors last week, right? And Don says, "Hey, do you have brushes?" I said, "Yeah." Okay. And I hadn't heard the song completely through, but I could hear them playing it. I could hear the vibe and the tempo. And so Don goes, presses the button, says, "Hey, listen, let's give it a go. Let's just run this. Let's just see how it goes." And I go. Start playing. Just that. That was the take. Of course, we tried it like 6 or 7 more times because everybody thought it was going to get better, and it never got better. You know, it's like that lesson taught me that prepare before you go in if you get a chance, but if you don't worry about it. You get there in that moment. If you can find those moments, oh my God, you know, you get
Record every take.
You should record every take. Yeah, because I like as a producer as well. I like to record a take and go back and listen. People go, "No, let's do it again. Let's do it again." So, wait a minute. Let's go see what we did and learn from that. You know what I mean? And the next time you have the chance to catch much more spontaneity in what you're doing. Just a lesson learned. You know what I mean? And it felt great. Like I said, we did 6 more takes, and after about an hour of that, Don says, "Hey, put that first take back on. Let's hear the first take." And he drops it back on, and we all go, "Oh my God." You could tell immediately. It's like magic dust was coming out of the speakers, you know. So you never know in studio. How often do you get to play a rumba in your blues bands?
Every night.
Really?
Yeah.
It-
Every night.
Dig it, huh?
So we do.
I'm sorry?
We do one in.
Yeah.
Just like that.
Cool. And then that's got that on the bass drum as well, which Latin, African really, you know, African Latin, which is my favorite. And then some guys want you to play it doesn't dance as well, does it? Everybody does something different with the right hand. That's just my little signature. Bring it down. Okay, what else? What else? Oh, yeah. So when we were talking about the shuffle, one of the other shuffles is that sanctified shuffle. And, you know, you can hear the Bobby Bland records, which Turn On Your Love Light, and what's the other famous one? And there was a bunch of hits back then that had that beat. John Jabo Starks was quite famous for Jabo, the way he played that sanctified shuffle. I'm loving that breakdown, how he goes to the bell and everything. Famous shuffle. Let's see. Like I said, I didn't really prepare. I'm trying to get deep in here. You know, I got any more questions? That always helps me out. Yeah.
Sure. So when you're doing a shuffle for a track, what's like the thought process deciding how you're going to, like, which shuffle you play? Is it more instinctive? Or probably at this point, but like, are there things you're listening for to say, oh, I'll do the laid back, or I'll do the thought shuffle or the sacrifice?
That's a very good question, because you can't always guess exactly what the band leader or, you know, the singer, whatever, wants from it unless they tell you beforehand. You know, if they tell you they want, you know, a really crisp shuffle or whatever, then you're going, you know, you try to start out there as opposed to whatever. And then a lot of it's listening to the bass player or being familiar with the bass player as well. The bass player's got a certain type of swing the way he plays. Depends on his touch, you know. If he's really pumping it hard, then you might want to get right up under him, you know what I mean, and kind of pump it hard as well. But if he's kind of a laid-back guy, you don't want to like be too dominant, you know, be loud. The last thing you want to do is you don't want to stick out. I know we're talking drums and bass and instruments that are loud here, but you really want to find a way to fit in, you know, most importantly. It's hard to say. You play me a song and I go, I mean, I may not play a double shuffle on it, though I love a double shuffle. And I might go between the way I play the double to depends on where everybody's sitting with things. If there's a lot of the keyboard stuff is really simple, I might want to stay out of the way like he is and not be too dominant and have too many notes stick out in the overall sound. You know. Leave more space in there. Space is really a great thing to think about as a drummer, because you think about you're crowding up every beat, you know, but you shouldn't, and you shouldn't have to. And when you can figure out how to play less and not waste any notes, you're going to be a lot more effective, you know, in the end. When I was playing with Robert Craig, there's something about the way that Robert plays and the bass player, and Jim Pugh on keyboards. Something about the way those guys played together, and it had been playing together for years, that for me to fit in, I couldn't waste any notes. I had to be right on it, and don't play a lot of fills. Just play the fill when you gotta lift it with the fill. Just one to like, you know, demarcate, you know, from this section to the next or whatever. And it was fun and it was an interesting experience, you know. But I got way into it, you know. It's like, not like I overplay when I play anyhow, but some players want you to loosen up more. Sometimes I'm playing with Taj Mahal and he'll look back at me, come on, Johnson, play me some more, and I step all over it, you know, play me some more fills. And I go, Taj, really, I don't want to get in the way of everybody else. He goes, no, man, I want to hear it, energy. And I went, all right, you know, so everybody's different, and they're different in every night, you know. You know, from touring around, you're going to be tired one night, music's going to go a certain way because you're all tired, you just drove 8 hours, and then fresh, you know, a couple of days later, it's going to feel different, so kind of a cool thing. You just learn how to choose, to answer that question. You just kind of learn how to choose what to play that sounds right under everybody else. Once again, developing big ears, man. Big ears.
I have a question.
Thanks for coming, guys. Yeah.
When you play out, do you prefer to use the in-ear setup or open monitors?
Good question. I still like to use open monitors. I'd rather play with a band that has good dynamics. It's not too loud. I wear earplugs anyhow. I should have them on now, but I'm not playing that much and that loud. And I don't have a lot of loud instruments on. But I'll never get on stage and play without these. My earplugs go with me everywhere.
Yeah, I have some as well. I just was wondering if that was something that the more you play out, we've been starting to play in our area a lot, and some of the venues don't have open monitors. They want us to use our in-ears, and that's been kind of a challenge for my bandmates because they've never done that before.
Yeah, that's a learning process. Yeah, to figure out that. If I do that, if they have no monitors at all, then you can't get, if you want to feel a little bit of the bottom end, you're not going to get it, especially. That's usually the thing that suffers the most, I think, is the bottom end. I don't know. I just prefer playing with good acoustics. I'd love to be in a room where everybody's playing the right volume and you can hear everybody.
It makes a difference.
And if I'm on a stage and a long time ago when I was younger, and the music I was playing might have been louder, I might have and there were like a guitar stack or whatever, I might put some tom-toms or snare drums. I definitely put a kick and snare, just barely touching the snare, and a little bit of bottom on the kick drum in my monitor. But insofar as, I used to, like, for a while there, like I say, when I was playing in a loud band, I'd have to put tom-toms in there as well, or else I'd be going.
Yeah.
I'd be, where are they? I couldn't hear them. Because everybody's so loud. Thank God I don't play like that anymore. I don't play that kind of music anymore. Nothing against those guys. Certain time in your life, I guess it's right. It's okay, right? Young and wild. Yeah.
Have you tried or ever thought about writing songs?
About what?
Writing songs.
I have written songs.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Are there any softwares you recommend for writing songs?
Oh, gosh.
How do you go about organizing?
I don't know. Mine's in my head.
So you just notate it?
I had this conversation this morning. I woke up and something between what had happened to me yesterday in my home and traveling here, and then being in a completely different city from Los Angeles, being in Memphis, which is quite different, and the people quite different in a great way. I love Memphis, and there was so nice and easy, and the ladies that were at the hotel, there was something about them. They were all so sweet and southern, and immediately put me in this mood, and I started just rapping to myself, and so I came up with 3 or 4 lines that I went, okay, I remember, I recite it kind of like it's a story and I'm having a conversation, because I think, especially blues songs, should be conversational. You should be having a conversation with someone when you're singing blues, because you're always kind of preaching. So have a conversation with somebody and be smart, be clever, be witty, be nasty, be whatever you want, be suggestive, any type of conversation you think you would like. If you're trying to get by with something, talking to a lady or whatever, just say you just met someone and you're gonna write a song about her, you know? Imagine that you're having that conversation with her, you know, whether it's just casual and you never see each other again, or you ask her for a telephone number or whatever, you know, depending on which direction you go in, but make sure you just have a conversation. Remember that conversation, and don't try to turn it into a song when you write all of it down. Just put the whole story down there, because I go back and I take lines. I've got reams of ideas, and I got a songwriter buddy, and we share this note thing. And I come up with all these crazy ideas, and I just put them on there, and he wakes up the next day and he goes, "Where were you when you wrote this?" You know, and so we share the experiences of, and then I tell him where I was and what the situation was. And he's such a bright guy. He goes, "Oh, I get it. All right." Then he writes another verse or whatever, and I've got a verse and a chorus, and then we get together and we put a track together, put the music together, and we go in his studio or my studio, and we record it. I started out, I picking up a guitar, playing 3 chords. Still do that, you know. I've got 7 or 8 guitars on the wall. I don't play guitar, but I know 3 or 4 chords, and that's about all you need to know to get started. Don't let anything go by. Don't think, "Oh, I'm going to remember this." That's a great line. You know, you're not going to remember it.
I did it on the lyrics. It's taking the lyrics and putting music,
Yeah.
notations underneath it. So
Yeah.
you pass that on to your partner.
In some cases I do, but usually I've got a melody and a feel in mind. The lyric kind of comes from the walk.
So you write it down. The notation. I mean the actual.
No, I don't write the actual
You don't
notes.
write the music down.
No, but I make recordings sometimes. If I've got something I know has got to have a certain melody, you know, I'm not going to remember. I get up in the middle of the night and do it.
Yeah.
I'll wake up with a song, 4 o'clock in the morning, go, "Hell, what?"
Yeah.
Stephanie goes, "What's up?" And I go, "Wait." I'm over here singing something in my croaky voice into the phone. And the next day, it starts to become a song. In most cases, there are also a lot of courses and websites and stuff that you can get involved in. There's a guy named Brent Baxter has a songwriting class online. Look him up and see if you can get to his site. Brent Baxter, yeah. And a lot of different people. There's a lot of songwriting classes. If you want to start taking it that way, as opposed to just roughing your way through it, you can rough your way through it. I also work with a lot of artists that I produce where they're trying to write a couple more songs, and for their record, and they haven't got quite enough songs, and so I listen to all their tunes and I go, "What are we missing here?" You know, to make the variety be more complete and full. And then I'll come up with an idea, and then I'll sit and write with that artist. You know, sometimes an artist sends me a song, and I say, "You know, this is a really good work. This is 80% there. It needs to have a bridge that needs to come from this point of view. If you write the bridge from this point of view, everything else that you're saying emotionally will make better sense. Either that, or else you're contrasting it and you're pointing out how crazy you are." You know what I mean? And so I like to take songs and I don't break them down over the top. You know what I mean? I'm not going to try to mess somebody's song up. You know, but when I share songwriting with them, which is probably what I do more now than actually sitting down and writing a complete song. I got a couple of complete ones in here over the last 5 or 6 months, but I have a lot of ideas, piles of ideas. At home, I have 2 zipper, legal pad bags full of lyrics, at least, you know, so going way back, you know. And I've had songs recorded, and you used to make money off of them, but that's gone. Oh, we don't want to talk about that. Is that good for the songwriting question? Yeah.
I have one. When you start writing songs, do you base it around a drum kit or do you base it off of a keyboard or a piano or guitar driven song?
Good question. Usually there's some kind of a riff or groove going on, and you just take for granted that as a drummer, you're going to automatically put a beat to anything you do.
Yeah.
Anything you start talking about, you're going to put a beat to it.
Yeah.
You don't have to define the beat yet, but you know there's something going on there. It's an attitude, whatever, when you're writing that song. So let that happen, you know, and then write the chords and whatnot around it. You know? I really like co-writing. I enjoy the bouncing off of other people. You know?
Different perspective, I guess, of the idea.
Sorry?
Would it be like a different perspective of the idea of the song?
Yeah, even if it turns into an argument.
Yeah.
It's like, you know, that's even add more emotion to the song, add more magic to the song, you know, by getting, let's pull something really, see now we're arguing over this, right? This is really good. Let's make this, you know, make sense. We don't have to meet in the middle. Someone can win or not. The way I look at it is if we write a great song, we both win. Because it's got both people's names on it. It doesn't say second line and third line by Tony and bridge by Jeff, you know, so you end up writing it all together, you know, you own the song together. So it's a good question though. Yeah. We've got like 7 minutes. Anything else you'd like me to play? Come on, stump me. Come on. What's your favorite beat? You, young lady.
Me, my favorite beat?
Yeah. What makes you move?
I like the shuffles a lot. I like the Chicago shuffle a lot.
You like a shuffle? What kind of shuffle? Fast or powerful or swingy?
Fast and swingy.
Fast and swingy shuffle. Like guitar driven? Yeah, okay. Do you play?
Drums?
You play instrument?
Yeah.
Sorry, you play drums?
Yes.
Oh, I'm sorry. Okay. What band are you with?
I'm with Brady Scats. He's my bassist.
Hello. Where are you from?
Canada.
Canada. A lot of Canadians here. I'm not going to talk politics now. My brain went there right away. Don't.
Don't go there.
Don't. No, that would be crazy. Yes.
Yeah, just a quick question. Train beats.
Oh, good.
I struggle with, like I do, you know, right, left foot, just back and forth, back and forth. I've tried varying my right foot while playing a train beat, and I haven't had too much success.
You mean to play some different patterns?
Yeah, like keep it.
That's your basic. When you hear me do that, why am I doing that pattern? Because somebody's playing. You know what I mean? You're going with the orchestration of the band at that point. So that'll get you into different patterns as well. Listening like that, listening to what other people are doing in the band.
Okay.
It's a cousin to the sanctified shuffle. And then you got the really fast ones. You know, that tends to be more of a two beat, right? It's 1, 2, 1, 2 instead of 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1. That's the train beat. Love it. How many of you get to play funk in your bands? Like, yeah, James Brown funk, New Orleans funk, Motown funk, Philadelphia funk. What's your favorite?
Canadian funk.
Politely, I'd like to say there is none. No.
Fair enough.
I'm joking. I'm totally joking. So the funkiest players, there's a guy in Toronto by the name of Jordan John, and his dad, Prakash. They're good friends of mine.
Nice.
Badass.
Great people.
Just great people as well. And Jordan is one of my favorites. And I saw somebody sent me a reel of him yesterday playing drums and singing. I went, I'm going to shoot you next time I see you.
And then guitar and keyboard.
And
vocal.
It's fucked up. And then he's out in front of Tower of Power.
Yeah.
Singing Tower of Power songs. And I go, who is this monstrously talented
Yeah.
human being? And he's the nicest guy. I've talked to him on the phone several times. And we met once, and I'm trying to, next time I go up to Toronto, I go up and do some recording up in above Toronto in the Lake District there with a friend of mine has a studio on the lake. And you know, of course you do, you're Canadian, Survivor Man, Les Stroud. Yeah, he's a very good friend. He's also a very good songwriter. And he goes from writing kind of Americana and blues to songs, epic songs about nature. And in fact, the reason why I wasn't going to be here this week and DeMar took over is I was supposed to be in Las Vegas with him doing this very large Earth Day show with a big production, like videos, all sorts of crazy stuff. And they canceled it after I called Kimberly and said, I'm not going to be there. Sorry, I got to be in Vegas. And they canceled it, you know, but he and I are good friends. He's quite a character. Yeah, what a great show. But I go to Canada. I don't know why I was babbling about that. I go to Canada.
Canada funk.
Yeah, Canada funk. Oh, that's right. It's A.
Yeah.
Can you create us a very polite, funky beat? That's like some James Brown funk there, right? Wasn't that the same drummer, John Jabbo Starks? Yeah. Or was that Clyde? No. I played in a band, soul band called Jack Mack and a Heart Attack for about 5 years. And we did just about every James Brown song you could, so I had to like go to school, you know. And then, yeah, a lot of great experiences out there that you get along the way. Okay, my lecture here is, you know, build relationships while you're here. While you talk to all these people, while you're hanging out with people from record labels, people who work for a distributor, people who work as promotion, radio people, fans in different cities, all the other bands and all the other musicians, you know. I know you're competing, but really you're all doing the same thing. So put together one big heart and start to get to know everybody else. And then what's happening in this business is the kind of music that we all love, that we're all here dedicated to because we're here in Memphis right now. It's dying because of the other style of music that's out there that just is taking over. And now, I don't know if you know, I mean, I'm sure you do, you know, the amount of AI out there in music is friggin' scary.
It's everywhere.
Exactly. On Tuesday before I packed my bags, someone said, could you play drums on a couple songs for me? And I said, yeah. I'm in my home studio and I make money doing that. I get paid nicely just to play 2 songs. And the guy who brought it to me, the engineer, said, you don't mind, do if I tell you that this whole track, drums, bass, keyboards, guitars, vocalists, lyrics, everything was AI generated. There was not one non-robotic thing on there. And the guy who was doing this, the engineer, said, I told the guy who did this, we need to put something real on it. So I put real drums on it, you know. And it's amazing how just that one human touch added something to it that made quite a bit of difference. So you can't let this go away, guys. You got to stay after it. God bless you for being into this kind of music and staying after it and dedicating your lives to it. I mean, some of you dedicated your lives to it, or else you wouldn't be here. Or you're going to. I did, long time ago. And there's ways that it pays off, but build relationships with every single person. Get to meet them, get their cards, stay in touch. Find out when you go to their town, invite them out to your show, find out what they're doing. Stay contacted. We need to be interlocked, you know, as a people in a system. We are our own society now. You know, we're being outnumbered, and it may go away, except for my one last thing here is I've been asked to be a part of a nonprofit foundation, and it's very well funded. And the gentleman who came up with the idea went to an artist friend of mine and said, we need to build a studio and make a place where musicians can come and record in a first-class situation for free. And the other musician friend of mine said, yeah. Kind of like, what are you talking about? But the guy's really dedicated and he's really loaded. He's got a lot of money, he's got wherewithal. He says, no, we got to do this. We got to do this. So they agreed, they talked about it, and said, well, we need somebody to help us build a studio who's been in a lot of studios and who has experience about so forth. And they called me and they asked me, because I've been in hundreds of studios between New York, London, Paris, Los Angeles, San Francisco, any major city, just about. I played in so many studios and I kind of know what they're supposed to look like and sound like. I know the ones I like anyhow. So they asked me to do it, and I'm going to help them build a studio. We're in motion. We have the land already. And it's going to be on the outskirts of St. Louis. The point here is that we're doing this, and this person is putting this financial support forth to make sure that we can help music like this survive. And we had another talk about it this morning on the phone right before I came here. He goes, this is our mission. We really have to do this. So keep it together, hold it together, hold each other's hand, help each other out, do anything you can to keep this community going. It's really, really important. And if you get a chance, go on and look up Broken Rocks, BROKENROCKS.org. And that will show you the mission statement of what I was just telling you about. And we'll do our best to help everybody we possibly can. And maybe, who knows, maybe I'll see you guys, some of you, a couple of years at the studio. You know, maybe you'll be invited to St. Louis. And wouldn't that be great? I'm done. I'm overdone. You've been a great audience. Thank you very much for sticking with me. I appreciate it. Really appreciate it. Give yourself a round of applause here. Come on. All right. Good luck if you're performing today, tonight, tomorrow, whatever, and maybe I'll see you around, okay? All right. Take it easy.
Thank you, sir.
All the best tonight.